Hi guys, well, welcome to more circles. We're going to actually move into chapter 12 today with 12.1 worksheet. And let me zoom in here so I can see. Well, it talks about tangent lines. And if you remember from the notes, a tangent line is always perpendicular. So this would be your tangent line coming and touching the circle at one place and going on. And then what you see here is a triangle created. So we would do our typical, take 180. We would subtract that 90, and we would get 90 left. And then we would take away that 150. So we would do 51, 150. Take away 51, and we would be left with 39. I want you guys to know when you get to number 1, just know that this would cut it in half. So when you find your answer for this angle right here, you're going to have to double it to get the whole angle. All right. Otherwise, that's not truly a triangle, correct? This odd shape. So look at it as half a triangle. Whoops. It's hard to see with my big hand in the way. Look at it as half a triangle and half a triangle. Okay. So the other thing that we know about triangles or tangent lines is that since it's tangent and it forms a 90-degree angle, it technically forms a right triangle, which means we can use the Pythagorean theorem. So I've kind of scribbled in here a little bit of stuff so that the video isn't 30 minutes long. But what I'm doing here is it tells me in the writing that the radius is 6,400 kilometers. So I know that right here is 6,400, and I know that this piece right here, just from here to here, is 6,400. This number right here and here and here, that's your height. So what you do is you're going to take your radius, you're going to add your height. So for my number 4 is going to be 12. I add those together. I get 6,412. And I'm going to set up the Pythagorean theorem. Remember that the two legs go on the left side, or they're the ones that are squared and added together. So I'm taking 6,400 squared, adding it to D, squaring it, and setting it equal to 6,412 squared, which would be my hypotenuse. So I'm going to do this pretty much all on my calculator. I'm going to square my hypotenuse first. So I'm going to do 6,412, and I'll square it. Hit enter, and then I'm going to subtract, because remember, I square both of these, but then I subtract this. So I'm going to subtract 6,400 squared, right? Because I'm, in essence, subtracting 6,400 squared minus 6,400 squared. And I'll be left with D squared equals a number. I'll hit enter, and I'll get this big number, 153,744. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the square root of that in my calculator. So I'll hit square root, and on my calculator, I have this button that says answer. So it inserts the previous answer, and I would hit enter. And I'm asking you guys to round to the nearest whole number. It just makes it easier. And don't worry about including units. So just write your answers, 392. You do not need to worry about the units. The units are the kilometers, the inches, the millimeters. Don't worry about those. It's hard to come up with all the different answers of the way that you guys write that too. So, okay, so that's number 4. Moving on to my number 6, it's the same idea. So I'm going to take my radii, or my radius, sorry, which is 6,400. I'm going to square it. I'm going to add it to D, which is what I'm trying to find, the distance. And I'm going to set it equal to my hypotenuse, which is now 7,700 kilometers, but it's going to be squared. And I got that because I took what my radius was, 6,400, and I added the height, which they told me was 1,300. So again, I'm going to go to my calculator. I'll move this over a little bit, hopefully without cutting stuff off. And I'm going to take this number and square it. So 7,700 and square it, hit enter. And then I'm going to subtract that 6,400 squared. And I'll end up with this big old number, which would be about 40,960,000. And I'm going to take the square root of that. So square root that answer, and I'll end up with, wait, I did something wrong here. Hold on one second. So 700 squared minus, oops, hold on, 6,400 squared. Oh, that's what okay. I pressed the wrong button earlier. And now I'm going to take the square root of that. And there I get the right answer. And I'm just going to say that's 4,281. So just go slow, check your work. All right, and then right here, it's the same idea. Because they're tangent, you know that this is a 90-degree angle. So again, there's a triangle that's created. We're going to need to use the Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to do 12 squared plus x squared equals, now this whole distance is where it's going to be a little bit tricky. It's going to be x plus 8 squared. And that's something you're going to have to FOIL, all right? Or just multiply it in the box, kind of like the Punnett squares. Do you remember those? So I'm going to do x plus 8 and x plus 8 and get x squared and 8x and 8x and 64. So I will combine my like terms and I'll end up with 144 plus x squared equals x squared plus 16x plus 64. Okay, so I'm going to subtract my x squareds, I'm going to move this 64 over, so minus 64, and I'll be left with, moving over into this space right here, 80 equals 16x. And then I'll just divide by 16 and divide by 16 and get x equals 5. Okay, so down here, it is asking us, are these tangent lines? The only way to prove that they're tangent lines is to see if they actually work for the Pythagorean theorem. If they work for the Pythagorean theorem, then you know that they are tangent lines. If they do not work for the Pythagorean theorem, then they are not tangent lines. So what we're going to do here is we're going to square 3, which is 9, and we're going to square 3 rad 3. So 3 rad 3, and I should have put parentheses around that. Whoops. Hold on, let me start over. Parenthesis 3 rad 3, move over, parenthesis, and we're going to square that. And it's going to be 27. So we're going to do plus 27 equals, and then 6 squared is 36. So we combine these, we end up with 36 equals 36. Ah, that's perfect. So yes, because they're equal, that means it's a right triangle, which means that angle would have to be 90 degrees, and this line is definitely tangent to the circle. All right, so let's try this one over here. 9 squared is 81 plus 5.6 squared, and we'll just say that's 31.36. And 10.6 squared. Which is 112.36. So we'll add 81 and 31.36 together, and we'll end up with 112.36, which is equal to our hypotenuse squared. And that works. That's a right triangle. So congratulations, 2 right triangles. Yes. All right. let's jump to this one. These are my favorite ones. So if they're originating from the same point and tangent to the same circle, they're going to be the same distance. So if we know that this piece is 5, then this piece has to be 5 also. And if we're looking at this and we see that this piece is 10, well, then this piece has to be 10 as well. And if this piece right here is 6, then this piece has to be 6 as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and find the perimeter of this whole triangle that goes around the circle. So 6 plus 5 is 11. And when we add these together, 10 plus 5 is 15. And then when we add these together, 10 plus 6 is 16. And I would add those all together. 16 plus 15 plus 11. And I would get 42. My perimeter here is 42. Okay, so they're not always going to be that easy where, oh, this is 10, then this is 10, this is 6. You might have to do some subtraction. So what I know here is I know that this piece is 15, which means this piece is 15. So I'm going to have to do 24 and minus 15. That would give me 9, which means that this piece right here is equal to 9. And you're like, but why are we doing that? Because we have to figure out what this piece is, and this is the only way to go about it. So if this piece is 9, then this piece right here has to be 9, which is going to help me figure out this piece, which will give me that piece, and then I can find the perimeter. So I'm going to do 21, this whole length, minus 9, and I am going to get 12. So I know that that part right here is 12, which means this part right here is 12. So now I can add them all up. I would do 24, this whole side, scribble this out for now, plus 21, this whole side, plus this whole side, which I just figured out. 12 and 15 is 27. So I'm going to add those up. All right, well, when I add them all up, I get 72. So I know that my perimeter is 72. And that's it for this worksheet, guys. Come to office hours if you have any questions. Wednesdays from 12:30 to 1:30. All right, have a good one. Bye.